Hello, trading is closed on June 19th, 2017. Let's go over my last call. I thought failure to break through resistance was a negative sign. The call was that we'd have a gap outside of the day's range. And I said unless we gapped higher and held it through the first hour, we should have a pretty big drop. Well, we gapped through it and held it through the first hour. As far as the daily pattern is concerned, I was looking for one with an early low, a middle of the day rally attempt, and then a pullback similar to this. I know lots of people are thinking I probably miscalled the pattern, but I don't guess. And the system I use says that's the right interpretation, which would mean Tuesday should have a pattern pretty similar to last Friday, with the early, middle, and late high, and a strong tendency for the market to close near its high. On rare occasions we go straight down instead, but breaking out like this is pretty strong on a short-term basis, and the one thing that we need for confirmation is to go higher than today's close by at least a tick, which means if we gap down and never trade higher than today's close, then the breakout doesn't really count. That's something Tom DeMark calls a critical qualifier. I'm not predicting that it'll happen or that it won't happen, but that's what the rule says. We already broke a rule with today's trade, because usually when futures trade up all night long, the high of the day is usually hit in the first hour, and that wasn't true here. During the day, MEJT gave just a few signals. Here it said ultimately higher prices would print. It said this rally attempt was false, this drop was false, that we'd see this price, and we got the higher prices too. So we have nothing new for MEJT for tomorrow. Well, short term, unless we gap down, this is a positive pattern, and higher prices should be seen. What about the longer term? Well, we're still on the weekly DeMark sell. These haven't worked too well, but there it is. That's the weekly. Here's the daily. This is the stop loss, which is to be interpreted loosely, which means we shouldn't go on a closing basis too much higher than we did today. And of course, once again, if we gap down, that violation does not count. And now, in addition to everything else, we have a new sell signal on the half-day chart. I can't say if the signals will work, but there they are. My stuff says at some point, this point here, 24.15.70 should be undercut, but that doesn't mean it has to be undercut tomorrow or anytime soon. This is pretty positive action, and unless it's invalidated by gapping down and never trading higher than today's close, I think at some time tomorrow higher prices will print, and if we don't have a strong move down, which happens a minority of the time, there's a very strong tendency for the market to close at its high Tuesday or else at Wednesday's open, and that's today's call.